The fantasy playoffs are fast approaching. It is time to be buying or selling in your Dynasty leagues. Whichever one it is, I've got you covered. Let's start at the top with buy Jayden Higgins. Every single time we're approaching the bye weeks, I'm looking for who are the rookies that can hit that post-bye week bump. I'm looking for good draft capital, good prospects, a clear opportunity and space for them to step into, and hopefully some form of production before the bye week. Jayden Higgins is exactly that. Now's a good time to be buying because nobody's thinking about him. They had the bye week last week. He has the potential to step in as the number 2 opposite Nico Collins. He played 43% of snaps in week 4 and got up to 55% in week 5. That could ascend to 80, 90% as soon as this week. I loved him as a prospect. I thought he's good draft capital and he has the potential to really step in. I'd happily pay a late second for him right now, which is the price that you've got on Keep Trade Cut. But maybe you can pivot away from a veteran receiver, someone like a Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, maybe throw in a little acid on top to go and get a young player with potential like Jayden Higgins. The next move is to sell Jameson Williams. Now, last year Jameson Williams was great, but this year he's been very boom bust. He's had 2 fantasy weeks over 18 points and he's had 4 below 7. He's just not reliable. The problem is this offense, whilst being good, isn't quite as great as it was last year. Jamal Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, they can't all feed every single week. As a result, Jameson Williams is just too tough to trust. Are you going to be wanting to be clicking his name in the fantasy playoffs when you don't know if he's going to put up a dud? To me, I'm looking to pivot off that. And if I can get a first-round pick, maybe an asset on top, that's happily a move I'm looking. As you can see, both Keep Trade Cut and DLF both have him as a wide receiver 3. And I think that's a nice pivot point to go and grab someone that's a little bit more consistent or maybe a younger player with a little bit more upside. The next move is to go out and buy Oronde Gadsden. Now, if you're a Fantasy Sanctuary member, if you got a copy of my rookie guide, you know that I was a big fan of Gadsden as a prospect. Wide receiver his last couple of years in college, moved to tight end, and still has got that potential. He is really, really taking over in Los Angeles. Even with Tyler Conklin, Will Dissly back, Gadsden was still the main guy out there running more routes, more snaps than any tight end in this room, and saw decent target share as well. I think that he has the potential to really take over, and this tight end class is really looking like a superstar class with as many as 5 potential producers already in their rookie year. Go and grab Gadsden before it's too late because he could be about to explode. Before I get on to the next buys and sells though, if you are finding this for the first time, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We do this every week and we've got shows every single day of the week to keep you covered and bringing home those championships. Cam Ward is my next option. Am I buying or am I selling? Of course I'm buying. It's only 6 weeks into his season and the situation around him has been abhorrent. The offensive line that was supposed to be average at least has fallen apart. Play caller's already been sacked. And the wide receivers, well, Calvin Ridley's AWOL and there's not much else around him. But why am I looking to buy him? Because people are already out on him. Yes, the fantasy production has been rubbish. He's averaging 7.3 points per game. But I still believe in the talent. He can still access all areas of the field. And he's showing a processing ability that I didn't think he would get to this early in his career. So things can only get better. They're going to get a new offensive play caller in this offseason. And hopefully things can start to build. They'll throw some resources at the offensive line and receiver room. If you can go and get him for a late first-round pick, which is where Keep Trade Cut are valuing him right now, that is a move I'm making 100 times out of 100. I'd happily even pay a mid-first-round pick for what I believe is a good, young, ascending quarterback. My final sell, though, is Josh Downs. Look, the last 2 weeks, he's been phenomenal, putting 11.4 and 16.2 fantasy points up. But the problem is he's just not on the field. He's been at 50% snap share the last 2 weeks. The reason he is not on the field is because this Colts team is no longer an 11 personnel team. They've got Tyler Warren. They're putting 2 tight ends on the field. They are moving away from Josh Downs as an every down player. And yes, the last 2 weeks he's put up fantasy points, but he's seen 30 and 35% target shares in order to hit those fantasy numbers. That's like elite level target volume. And it's just not consistent. He can't keep doing that week in, week out. So off the back of those 2 good productive weeks, while people are still valuing him as a borderline wide receiver 3, if you can get a good second round pick, that's absolutely a move I'd make. Or if you can pivot from Josh Downs to Jayden Higgins, the guy I mentioned at the top, maybe even get an asset thrown in on top. That's a move I would look to make, and it could really pay dividends as we head down the stretch. The next section I want to talk about is my sell before it's too late. Let's call this your last chance saloon. Zach Ertz, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins. Look, we're heading into bye week season. There are teams that are looking at their rosters and suddenly panicking. Oh God, I need a flex play. I need a tight end or whatever. This is the last chance you're ever going to get some sort of value back for these guys. If you're not starting them, you know, Zach Ertz, Cooper Kupp, they're usable right now. Maybe you can start at a third. My favorite move with this is I offer them out to every single team in the league for a third round pick. I give a 24-hour window on that. If nobody accepts it, I'll move to two fourth round picks. Nobody accepts it, I'll move to a fourth round pick. If nobody accepts it, I'll move to fab. If at that point I'm offering up any of these players for fab and nobody is accepting it, then yeah, maybe I just need to go ahead and cut them, because if I'm not starting them, they are just a roster clogger, and I'd rather take a flyer on a running back or a quarterback that's got a chance to turn into something. So this is your last chance saloon to go out and sell those. The final guy I want to touch on, this isn't really a buy, this is a maybe sniff around, see what the price is, because Jack Bech, he's starting to earn a role. He played 75% of the snaps in week 6. I believe in the talent. I think he was a good prospect in a good situation. I was worried that he wouldn't see the field because he'd be blocked by Jacoby Myers as that natural slot receiver. But the fact he's already seen this much snaps this soon is encouraging. Okay, he didn't see a single target, but if you can go and get him for free because he's sat there, people aren't thinking about him, people aren't wondering about him, you know, keep trade cut, wide receiver 72, DLF, same price, third round pick. Maybe you can get him as a throwing in a deal, but he's a player that I'm intrigued as to where we see him start to get a bigger role as we move forward. Do you disagree with any of these buy sells? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you've got some trade questions, I'll answer 100% of those questions anytime you want, all day long. And make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and be back, because we've got the ranking shows coming up very soon.